Welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV, episode 376, recorded November 20th, 2021. My name is Mac Jackson Jr. I'm your cybersecurity consultant. I want to thank you, if this is your first time watching our show, to be a part of it and wanting to come to Cybersecurity Awareness TV and learn about what's going on regarding cyber threats, how it can affect you and your business. It's the fastest growing crime, folks, of the 21st century. I'd like to thank all of our viewers from around the world who's been supporters of Cybersecurity Awareness TV and my show here on WWDBTV. And for our listeners, and boy, I tell you, we have lots of great listeners and lots of information that we like to share with everybody every week here on WWDBTV. But folks, if you'd like to find out more about my services in consulting, you can go to my website at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com. Or, folks, you can visit my company's website, and that's vandersoncybergroup.com. vandersoncybergroup.com, folks. And that's where you would learn about how to mitigate some of these threats and damages of cyber attacks. We can help you set up policies and procedures for your organization. In today's episode, we're stepping into the holiday season, folks, and as we always do this time of the year, we do holiday shopping and holiday hackers. That's our first segment. Our second segment, we're going to talk about holiday shopping tips, what you can do to protect yourself in your business from these cyber attacks and yourself from purchases during these holiday times. And of course, we'll end our segments with a segment on weekly tips, what you could do as you're shopping for the holidays to protect yourselves from these cyber threats. In our first segment, in cybersecurity news, holiday shopping and holiday hackers. Folks, holiday brings in an increased activity in shopping for all of us, especially during the pandemic. A lot of us are now shopping from home, not traveling as much. However, businesses are saying that the holiday increase will be amazing this year because people are getting out of their homes and starting to shop more. However, it's creating another opportunity for hackers to try to find vulnerable victims where they could exploit and try to steal their personal data and their information. It's been going on now forever, but this year it's claimed it's going to be a big increase in those type of attacks. We must all, folks, stay alert and aware and report any suspicious activity that we see that happens to us or we have noticed happen to anyone regarding cyber attacks on the holiday season. Here's a report from CBS regarding cyber criminals over the holiday season and what you can do to protect yourselves.
In Consumer Watch, cyber attacks have made headlines throughout the year. Now some businesses fear they could be targeted during the busy holiday shopping season. A recent survey by a cybersecurity firm called CyberReason found that 89% of organizations that have already been targeted online in the last year are concerned about repeat intrusion. CyberReason also found that the average ransom payment for online attacks skyrocketed to $5.3 million this year. A new CBS article breaks down this data. Many organizations are feeling vulnerable with nearly 500,000 cybersecurity jobs left unfilled. There are concerns that tiny cybersecurity mistakes by companies or organizations could lead to massive damage. Nicole Scanga wrote the piece, and she is joining us now to talk about this. So, Nicole, really interesting. You took a look at the report, and what stood out to you when you read these sort of predictions? What I sort of focused on is what we just said, these like little tiny mistakes. It's not going to be a big mistake. It's going to be a series of tiny ones, cascading mistakes that lead to something larger.
Yeah, good to be with you, Vlad and Anne-Marie. And you're right, it's those phishing emails. But what stood out to me in this report is really the headline. 9 in 10 cybersecurity professionals surveyed. These are folks that were previously hit by a holiday or weekend ransomware attack. They say they're worried it's going to happen to their business again ahead of the winter holidays. But despite this concern, 36% said they had no specific contingency plan in place to mount a response. This survey polled over 1,200 chief information security officers at businesses worldwide. And we often think about the damage caused by the cyber attack itself, but one thing we don't usually pay attention to is what this does to the community of cyber professionals and defenders who, trust me, are working overtime right now. And you said this before, but keep in mind the average ransomware payment is up more than 500% compared to last year. So 86% of these respondents reported missing holidays or weekend activities with family and friends to return to work in the wake of a cyber incident. Us journalists can certainly relate to that. And get this, nearly 3/4 surveyed actually admitted they were intoxicated while responding to a ransomware attack on the weekend or during a holiday, something the survey calls a risk factor for organizations that may not have been accounted for by incident response and business continuity plans. The bottom line here is these attacks occur when we least expect them. Ransomware criminals know that, and there's a concern they're going to take advantage of it this holiday season.
Yeah, and we so often, the humans in this whole equation, are the weakest link. So here's the thing, though, for businesses, for municipalities, hospital systems, I mean, part of the reason that they're vulnerable is because they're coming up against organized professional hackers, sometimes Russia-linked, sometimes Russia-backed. It's a really difficult thing to combat on your own. So the question is, what's happening on the federal government level, in terms of diplomacy, pressure, sanctions? What is the government doing to help protect us from these attacks?
Yeah, Anne-Marie, a good question. In fact, the assistant director of the FBI in charge of cyber, his name's Brian Vorndran, he told Congress just yesterday, we've actually not seen a decrease in ransomware attacks in the past couple of months originating from Russia. This despite the fact that, many of the major players our viewers might have heard about are evil, dark side. They've got these scary names. Those behind the Colonial Pipeline and Kaseya software hacks are now offline. But the U.S. has punched back this year. A new cybersecurity executive order has put stricter standards in place. There's more money, including $2 billion in that infrastructure bill we've been talking about over and over, now signed by President Biden. The Justice Department announced last week that U.S. officials seized back more than $6 million in cryptocurrency and arrested 2 individuals they say were behind a July 4th weekend REvil ransomware attack. One of the problems, one of these criminals remains in Russia and has not yet been handed over by Russian officials. And more cybersecurity experts are telling me that President Putin has ignored the requests from the United States to curb this kind of criminal activity. We see it every day, and it's still a problem for the United States.
In your piece, you mentioned the cybersecurity industry has nearly 500,000 job openings right now. So what does that mean for vulnerability in companies in need of security?
Yeah, Vlad, it really just exacerbates the problem. The job market for cybersecurity has continued to grow, even with a tightening of, this so-called cyber skills gap. That's the number of individuals who have been educated, trained, capable of filling these really highly technical positions. And by the way, more than 1,500 of those vacancies can be found right now within the federal government. So, the government took one step in addressing that problem actually this week, 7 years after Congress first directed the Department of Homeland Security to build some sort of federal recruiting tool aimed at attracting professionals to help safeguard the nation against cyber attacks. It is finally launching. That new system is called the Cyber Talent Management System. It's designed to speed up the notoriously red-taped hiring process in the federal government and try to offer higher pay to incentivize skilled professionals to pass up that private sector job and work for the government. But, nationwide and even worldwide, unclogging that talent pipeline, it's going to take a lot more than just this.
A congressional investigation into 3 major ransomware attacks this year noted that small lapses, as we've been mentioning, led to major breaches. Tell us more about these revelations.
Yeah, well, this was a report that was released yesterday by the House Oversight Committee, and it basically determined that, these major ransomware incidents, the attackers took advantage of really relatively minor security lapses, such as, single user accounts controlled by weak passwords to launch enormously costly attacks. And when we say costly, I mean, that is a huge understatement. One of the incidents the committee investigated was the hack of C&A Insurance. They were extorted for $40 million. But again, the bottom line here is that organizations with big security systems, fall victim to really just simple attacks initially. That entry point in some cases was a phishing link. So this really underlines the importance of educating that entire workforce, not just the pros, not just the IT department. The report also showed that some of the victims of cyber attacks often have questions about where they should go to. Should they go to the FBI when there's a cyber hack? CISA, Treasury, Secret Service, DHS. So all of those alphabet organizations are currently trying to figure out, the best way for businesses to really report when an attack happens, because it is so important that they respond in a timely fashion.
So true. Nicole, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So for more of Nicole's reporting, you can read her full article right now on CBSNews.com.
And yes, folks, report your incidents of cyber breaches and cyber threats to state, local, and federal agencies. And you can do this by going to a website called reportfraudftc.gov. That's reportfraud.ftc.gov. Any suspicious activity that you've seen, or if you have been involved in a cyber attack, a cyber threat. Also, go to your local police department and get a police report as well. The more information that you have that you can supply to law enforcement, the better they have to compile it in their databases and then go after these criminals. Your reports will be shared by over 3,000 different law enforcement agencies by going to the website reportfraudftc.gov. And again, this information will be shared across the nation and across internationally as well. We must do our best to fight against these types of cyber attacks. As we travel during the holiday season, remember to stay cyber woke. And that's what it means, folks. Stay cyber woke means stay alert and prepared for any type of activity that can affect your personal privacy, your personal data, your personal information. Here's one example, folks. Remember to turn off your Wi-Fi on your smartphone devices when you travel. Yes, turn off your Wi-Fi on your smartphone. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by this. When your smartphone, as we have examples of our smartphones, when you travel during the holiday season and even without the holiday season, if you have your Wi-Fi on your smart device, your tablet as well, your device goes out and looks for other routers that it can connect to join the internet. That's right. And your phone doesn't know if it's a good guy or bad guy. Well, folks, hackers have been proven, but through law enforcement, have said that hackers have created fake internet access points where your phone can attach to without you knowing it. And if you connect one of these fake internet access points, you could have internet access, sure, but also the hackers are watching everything you do on your phone, and they're going into your devices and can take things from your device. So my first point to you folks to remember, when you're traveling outside of your protected Wi-Fi area that you know about, turn off the Wi-Fi on your smart device, your laptop, your smartphone, your tablets as well, especially when you're traveling out of state or out of the country, folks, because this has happened a lot. And here's an experiment. A couple years ago, we worked on an experiment that we'd driven across town, one end of town of here in Las Vegas, from the south part to the north part of Las Vegas. And we were trying to track how many Wi-Fi points or internet points that the smart devices that we were testing were trying to connect to. And there were so many, it was actually over 100 different Wi-Fi points. Now, I'm not saying that all these were nefarious, but however, folks, these particular Wi-Fi points, if they were fraudulent or fake, there's no way our phones would know, and there's no way that our user would know. So let's protect ourselves so then you will know in order to protect yourself from these type of hackers. One of the best things you could do is have a VPN also attached to your smart device as well. The VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and it gives you a sense of security around your protected device because it will deflect hackers away from you so they can't see you on the actual internet. So that's a great advice I can give for you folks to protect yourself during the holidays. But I have more to show you. There's another report that comes from CBS 8, and this report shows you how to protect yourselves while you are traveling over the holidays, folks. Check out this video.
Cybercrime is on the rise, increasing significantly this year. Criminals target travelers who are vulnerable outside their home network.
News 8's Dana Marie McNichol spoke to cybersecurity experts about the best ways to protect your data from hackers while traveling this holiday season.
The holidays are around the corner. You're ready for vacation mode. Before you head out of town, you secure your house. But have you secured your personal data? Whether you're using a Windows or a Mac system, the risk of cybersecurity significantly increases when you're on the road. Hackers, they're criminals of opportunity. And as travelers, we got a target on our back. We can protect ourselves with basic elements of cybersecurity. Your passwords should be complicated and different for each account. The National Cybersecurity Analysis found that 23.2 million people used 123456 as a password for their account. You don't want to get locked out before posting those vacation photos. Turn on your two-factor authentication. The first is your password. The second is usually a code sent to your phone or your email to confirm it's you. This gives you an extra layer of security. I spoke to Aaron Weaver from Hack.com. He says the threat is real and hackers are ready to strike this holiday season.
We're seeing a huge rise in social media attacks right now. If you have a social media account with a credit card attached to it, like Facebook, we're seeing a lot of cases where people think it's just Facebook, it's not that big of a deal, and then they get hacked in their Facebook account, their business account gets hacked, their ads account gets hacked, their credit card gets hacked.
Before you travel, turn off your auto Wi-Fi connect. You could be leaking data without even knowing. You're ready to connect to airport Wi-Fi. The option might say airport Wi-Fi, but it's actually some guy on a computer ready to spy on you.
It seems like it's got the right name, so you connect. And then what you don't realize is that actually it could be a nefarious actor behind the scenes putting up that access point, and you actually do get a connection to the internet. However, along the way, they can intercept your data and your keystrokes.
Eric Palm is the president of the mobile hotspot provider Skyroam. Scammers give fake names to their networks that we wouldn't think twice about connecting to. You just gave them access to your credit card information. By connecting, you're now vulnerable to attacks.
They will empty your bank account within minutes if they have the access to that. This is how quickly they work. There's a very, very efficient network out there of people trying to steal data.
Now it's time to purchase a VPN. That's a virtual private network. It makes your online activity virtually untraceable. Your connection is secure and encrypted.
It makes it so hackers can't see where you are, it can't see your IP address. They could normally see all those things if you just connected to public Wi-Fi. So using a VPN is a great way to protect yourself.
Once you're connected to a secure network, don't let your guard down just yet. Plugging this USB cable directly into a free charging port is a bad idea. Hackers can download malware directly into the port to access everything on your phone. This is called juice jacking. Use a power outlet with a cube to stop them from stealing your information.
There are cables out there that can limit to just the power, not the data. So I would actively look for that kind of charging cable.
3 final things to do before you travel. Back up all your files. Make sure your software is updated and avoid posting on social media any personal information the hackers can use against you.
Like when people say, I'm heading to Miami, that means your house is going to be empty. Very good advice, Dana Marie. Head to CBS8.com for the full checklist of things you can do to keep those hackers away this holiday season.
As you can see, folks, preparedness is our best preparation and protection for these type of cyber attacks. So stay alert, hashtag stay cyber woke, and folks, we'll be back after these messages.
According to the FBI, 97% of retailers have been hacked by cyber attacks. 97%. Train your staff on the new red flag rules to mitigate identity theft. Plus, protect your customers and employee data and develop an identity theft prevention policy for your business. Learn how to detect and report a cyber attack to your customers and protect your company's image from a cyber attack. Identity theft is the fastest growing crime of the 21st century, but there is something you can do. Contact MJ Computer Concepts at 702-868-0808. Don't become a statistic. Call MJ Computer Concepts at 702-868-0808.
Hi folks, welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. In this segment, holiday shopping tips, how to stay safe with your purchases. Folks, like we mentioned in our previous segment, hackers are always looking for vulnerable shoppers and vulnerable people where they can exploit them and try to capture their personal data and personal information so the hackers can shop on your credit cards. We want to avoid that sort of thing. Especially during the time of our pandemic, most people are staying at home and not out in the shopping malls and shopping like they did in previous years. However, there will definitely be a rise in online shopping, especially during Black Friday, right after Thanksgiving happening this week. So my advice to you is definitely stay alert and make sure that your device that you're shopping on is secure, that your network is secure, and that you're using basically a credit card over a debit card, folks, because there are laws that can protect your credit card if you have fraudulent activities on it that aren't not as much available on your debit card. There are still laws protecting your debit card as well, but not as much on your credit card. So those are just a couple tips for you to help you out, folks, from this. But there's a lot of other things I'd like to share with you, and one of them I like to reinforce what we say on this show, hashtag Stay Cyber Woke, for the holiday season with this video from CISA, which stands for the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agencies of our federal government. Here's a video, folks, I'd like for you to look at. Check it out.
Be sure to use safe methods for purchases this holiday season. If you're going to make that purchase, what information are you handing over? Before providing personal or financial information, check the website's privacy policy. Make sure you understand how your information will be stored and used. If you can, use a credit card as opposed to a debit card. There are laws to limit your liability for fraudulent credit card charges, but you may not have the same level of protection for your debit cards. Additionally, because a debit card draws money directly from your bank account, unauthorized charges could leave you with insufficient funds to pay other bills. Check your credit card and bank statements for fraudulent charges. Immediately notify your bank or financial institution and local law enforcement. Be wary of emails requesting personal information. Attackers may attempt to gather information by sending emails requesting to confirm purchase or account information. Legitimate businesses will not solicit this type of information through email. Do not provide sensitive information through email. If you receive a suspicious email that you think may be a phishing scam, you can report it at uscert.gov/report-phishing. If you believe your personal or financial information has been stolen, report it right away to your local police and the Federal Trade Commission. There's information on the FTC website, identitytheft.gov, about how to report. Immediately change your passwords, use complex passwords, and use a different one for each account. A password manager can help you do this.
As you can see, folks, being aware and on top of the cyber threat can protect all of us when it comes to holiday shopping in this holiday season and even beyond. We must stay alert and interested in making sure that we're protecting our cybersecurity. One of the things I'd like to share with you folks, again, if you'd like to learn more about cybersecurity awareness, is definitely go to my website at vandersoncybergroup.com. That's vandersoncybergroup.com, folks, where you'll learn about how to put together a policy, how to make sure that you have the right procedures in place if you ever had a cyber attack that affected your business or individual as well. And if you can't remember Vanderson Cyber Group, you can also find me on my website at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com. Folks, we'll be right back here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV after these messages. Hi folks, I would like to welcome Ben Bowie from MyNiceTie.com as one of our newest sponsors for Cybersecurity Awareness TV. At MyNiceTie.com, they provide and are committed to providing classy neckties for the business community. At MyNiceTie.com, their motto is Wise Up, Suit Up, and Stand Up. You can find nice ties like the one I'm wearing now at MyNiceTies.com. Hi folks, welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr. In this segment, we call Cybersecurity Tips to Protect Yourself and Your Privacy. So, as we talked about every week on the show, we give you things you can do to protect yourselves. But one of I want to define right now from an email I've gotten from one of my listeners was about PII. What is that? PII stands for Personal Information accessibility about yourself, right? Personal identifiable information, PII. And what it consists of things that related to you as an individual, things that can identify you, records, information that can identify you as that particular individual. For example, your name, address, phone number. That's very simple. It's out there and everybody has that. But there's specific information about you, such as your birth date, your credit card information. Yes, folks, now we're starting to get a little bit personal about yourself. How about your height, your weight, all of that? Those are personal identifiable information that's about you. Then you add facial recognition to the mix. Now you're developing a digital profile about you as an individual. Now that digital profile can be bought and sold in the darknet by other cyber criminals that can pose as you to do various things like get credit, get a utility service turned on in your name, buy a cell phone, or even purchase a home. These are things we want to stop, and ways to do that is to make sure that you do not give your personal identification out to any organization that hasn't proven that they have an authority to have it. And if they do have that proof of authority to have it, you make sure that that authority is correct. Maybe even get a document or something sent to you stating that they have authorization to have your personal information. Because folks, it is out there, and once you put it out in the stratosphere or in the blogosphere, it's there always. And the biggest one, social media. That's right, folks. Social media. When you're on your social media, you're engaging in these conversations, and people are asking you about certain parts of your privacy. You make sure that you do not share that information with people you do not know. Sometimes people you do know, do not share that. And here's a big one, especially during the holiday season. You tell people when you're going on vacation for the holidays. You're going to be gone on the holiday season overseas or across the country. Now bad guys know that your particular home is available. You're not there. Now, if you don't have a security system in your home, that is, to protect yourself, you need to have that. But if you do not, the best thing to do is not to let the world know that you'll be out of town. There's been too many instances, folks, that of people who have been online and have stated that they are out of town during their holiday season or their birth date, and causing their homes possibly burglarized, because now criminals know that you're not there. So that's one of the biggest tips we have for you. And the other one, folks, is basically stay alert and stay awake and use strict passwords. I keep emphasizing that passwords, folks. There was just another recent study that came out and shown that people do not want to create a password, so they'll use a default with the word password in lowercase. Really, folks? That's your password, is the word password? Sounds like a Groucho Marx comedy skit. You don't want to use password as your password, folks. Have a password that's hard for hackers to imitate, but something easy to remember, like using a passphrase. Those are some of the things we have, folks, with our services we can offer for you at Vanderson Cyber Group, and with my website, MacJacksonJr.com. You can find out all types of information on how to protect your personal private information so it's not stolen by hackers, and protect your business by putting together policies and procedures and training your staff, folks, training your staff. To find out more, definitely contact me. You can find me on all social media outlets, including Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Again, go to my website, or you can call me. Someone asked me to give my phone number out, and I will do that too. And that's 702-868-0808, 702-868-0808, folks. Thank you again for this week. I would like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and have a lot of turkey. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week, folks, here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV. Bye for now.